I'm Jay Taylor. I'm here at the Metals Investor Forum. It's November 10th, 2017. We're here at the Georgia Hotel in Vancouver. And a number of really interesting companies that I've heard from so far. I've invited 4 companies to this event, and one of them is NewRange Gold Corp. It's really a very exciting story. They have some really high-grade numbers that have come out of their project, the Pamlico project, in the Walker Lane trend of Nevada. And I'm really pleased to have with me Robert Carrington, who will explain more about this project. Thanks for joining me, Robert.
Jay, thanks for having us.
So Robert, you've reported some really high-grade numbers that are very, very impressive. And as I understand it, this Pamlico property is an assembly of several mom-and-pop mines that were mined in the past by small families. Is that right?
Yes.
And how did you come to acquire all of these and pull them into one package?
Well, a lot of the consolidation had been done by the Merritt family, the family that we bought it from. But the Pamlico district was originally operated by a large number of individuals, and then in the late 1890s was consolidated by a mining family out of Nevada who held it for many years. And since 1898, one of 3 large mining families has controlled the district. We acquired it from the Merritt family, and then subsequently more than doubled the size of the property. We've actually increased the property by 160%. A lot of the ground that we have acquired above and beyond what we got from the Merritt family added a substantial sediment-hosted gold component to the already known high-grade volcanic-hosted epithermal mineralization. It's a very exciting story that way because we have this extremely high-grade volcanic-hosted epithermal mineralization with some stellar grades, as you'd indicated. And then along the eastern half of the property, we see a more than 6-kilometer-long belt of carbonate sediments, somewhat like the sediments that host the Carlin systems or some of the other sediment-hosted systems in Nevada. And within those sediments, we see altered mineralized structures that carry as high as 5 grams of gold per ton over the entire 6-kilometer strike length of that belt.
Wow. So you've got a couple of different things to shoot at now, a couple of different models.
We do.
Yeah.
We have multiple large targets within the volcanic-hosted portion of the system. And then the carbonate sediments overlie the same volcanics. So in a worst-case scenario, even if the sediment-hosted mineralization comes to naught, we're going to see the same kind of targets develop down in the underlying volcanics. And we know that we have highly anomalous gold mineralization over a 6-kilometer strike length in the sediments.
Okay, so you have indications, you've got sort of a known target size, a structure, you know something about, but so far you have a few drill holes, some really high numbers, high grade numbers.
Yes.
What sort of drill, can you talk about your drill program right now? How extensive is it, and what do you hope to achieve with your current drill program?
Well, to date, we're about halfway through our second phase of drilling. We completed 19 holes in our first phase of drilling, and I believe we're up to our 37th hole now. As you indicated, some of the grades from the first phase were stellar. We had individual drill intercepts to as high as 340 grams a ton, and 70-meter intercepts that were averaging over 3 grams a ton.
Wow.
So really substantial size along with extremely high-grade structure. The current drilling program was designed to improve the understanding of the system, really try and get a handle on what structures were controlling the gold and just how to extend those structures to grow the indicated mineralization there. We also have drilled 2 deep holes looking for additional favorable volcanic units at depth. Visually, those holes seem to have been successful. We don't know if there's any gold in those holes yet. Those are pending at the lab. We are also conducting a lot of downhole geochemistry and whole rock analysis on those holes. It would have been a miracle or it would be a miracle if we hit gold in either of those holes, because we didn't know exactly how deep or if we were even going to intersect additional favorable lithology at depth. And of course, the depth also impacts where the dipping high-grade structures are going to intersect those things.
Sure.
So there's a lot of three-dimensional geometry that's going to go into targeting those in the future, but at least we do know that we have potentially other favorable horizons at depth. And one of the real important things that came out of those two deep holes is the extremely deep level of oxidation in the Pamlico system. We're looking at a more than 200 meter deep or over 600 foot deep level of oxidation, which is it's hands down the deepest I've ever seen in the state of Nevada. And that combined with the drilling indicates that the gold mineralization is part of a low silica or a silica deficient mineral event. So there's really no potential for any problems with silica encapsulation in the system.
That's good.
Gold seems to be very fine grained, so we're looking at what should be a fairly simple metallurgical recovery process. More than likely, the low grade in the system, that stuff that only runs 3 grams a ton, which
Only 3 grams.
Only 3 grams. Is going to be amenable to heap leaching. The higher grade mineralization we would obviously try and capture and put in the mill, but fine grained gold is very easily recoverable in a standard modern milling situation.
Yeah. Well, of course, you got a lot of work to do before you can start talking about milling or
Oh, yeah.
anything, and you're really
Yeah.
you don't have a resource yet.
No, the gold.
When do you expect you might have a resource, or do you will have to go another round of drilling? I'm
Yes,
sure.
we definitely will. The goal is to complete up to 100,000 meters of additional drilling on the property. And then hopefully by the end of next year, we'll be in a position to make an assessment whether we're ready to initiate a 43-101 resource study at that time. Right now, we're focused on the Pamlico Ridge area, which is a almost 3 kilometer long target zone that is up to 1,000 meters wide. So that one zone can consume a lot of drilling, but then there's 5 other major targets on the property without even getting into the sediment hosted mineralization.
My goodness. So 100,000 meters by what time frame?
The end of 2018.
Wow.
So
Boy,
we're going to have multiple rigs, and
okay. So that begs the question then: how much money do you have, and you're going to have to raise more? I'm afraid.
we'll be raising additional funds to complete that work program. There's no doubt about that. But one of the very strong things we do have going for us, our all-in drilling costs, including assays and supervision at Pamlico, is much less than it is in most other regions of the world, in part because of my long-term business relationships with people in Nevada. Our all-in drilling cost is right at $45 per meter.
Oh.
Compared in some areas I've worked in, Ontario, other places, we've been pushing almost $300 a meter.
That's a big difference, no doubt about it. Well, we certainly want to see, as a shareholder, want to see your share price higher before you do the next round of financing. What are the drivers that you have now that we should be looking forward to? Assays, how many assays will be coming out in what time frame, assuming the labs ever
get them
get
pushed?
moving?
Yes. Turnaround at the labs is a big problem for everybody. We have approximately 10 holes remaining. We're about halfway through our second phase of drilling. We have all the data coming from the 2 deep stratigraphic test holes, and we just received all the magnetic interpretation, all the reports on the magnetics that we conducted, which are property-wide magnetics. I understand that that's very favorable. I have not seen those reports yet. I was in Europe when those reports came out last week. So we'll be looking at that going forward, and as we get that all interpreted and built into the model, we'll release that.
Well, that'd be good. Hopefully it will have some impact on the share price. It certainly should, especially if you keep coming out with some good numbers and things.
I'm optimistic we'll see more good numbers in the remaining drill holes.
All right, well, we'll have to leave it go at that because we're out of time. Thank you, Robert, for sharing your story with our viewers.
Jay, thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.